So this is for Martin Timmerus Gese. His Twitter handle is Timmerus. His question is, I think I have the wrong idea how to play CT side on train. This game we played as a full 5 stack, and I called to play A side. I played poorly, not because of my aim, but I think it was because of my positioning. It's a facet game that I'm linking to you. His question is, how can I improve the way I play CT side of train, with emphasis on controlling early fast aim integration? So what we're gonna focus on is trying to look at his game. Let's go to the CT side he's playing. So let's try to focus on the weapon rounds here. Let's see how this game evolves. He wants to focus on shutting down early CT aggression, like couldn't do in our game. See here, that's a good shot. Where did he die from? From Ivy, classic, right? Oh, he didn't die from Ivy, he died from this guy. Okay, didn't look at it. Okay, weapon round. Let's see the utility here. Alright, so you can already see here the utility is really bad. So if the T's are throwing aggression, there's only one way you can stop him, and that's with an AWP. I'll try to go on the server after. What he's doing is basically best he can do with a smoke, but he doesn't use that for anything right now, right? So he should push closer. Let's see. Spam through smoke. So right now they're actually shutting down aggression, but they kind of gift him mid after. You can see like he smoked it off. He could have gone into sandwich in this area and chill here. So after the smoke, he's basically given them T mid after because they're not scared he's close apparently. Okay, now they're full utility. Okay, he does this Molotov. Let's see where it lands. That's alright Molotov, not the best. I'll try to show you after what Molotov I think is key. This time he Molotov difference, right? Yeah, it bounces out. So here comes the issue. I think what he's talking about. This is probably what's gonna happen the rest of the game. Molotov here, nobody's going close pop. They're all going on bomb side, that means they're getting a lot of area. He's holding the angle. Yeah. And now this is terrible situation for T's. I don't know how many CTs I mean. This is where the panic starts. Nobody's holding pop. They're already out pop. They're into a hill. Literally a 70% chance for T's winning. Unless they do mistakes. Yeah, they're already left side of sight. Communication is bad. Here. They somehow win the round anyway. Even though they have eco, maybe not so big chance, but 50-50 round now with eco, I would say. When T's get out in that scenario. So much space. So, okay, he's going up higher now, but let's see what his teammate does. No grenades to its teammate. Have an AWP covering, but they're going to be out without them knowing. He is very open. This is pretty YOLO, right? But they're shutting it down. But if the T's were playing with no respect, they would already be out, and it would not be a good situation for the CTs. Jumping a little too much here, Trimos, I think. So you should be a little more aware. Look at, you have an entry here, right? Or it's 4 and 4. Yeah, so watch so I don't get catch off guard here, for example. Let's see what he's talking about, what he's doing when he's shutting down mid. So he's going towards B now. So yeah, I'll talk generally then. Try to see what he's doing, and there's a lot of stuff I can go through. So there's many ways you can handle the teething. What I think is most important is that if you are kind of leaning forward towards A, so let's start with the scenario that the T's are often jumping out to the right, rushing out this way, right? The way you can counter that is basically getting an AWP here and hit the most easy shot there is. It's this one. You never get blind here. Let's make the sound lower. You never get blind here, so you can shut down if they jump out to the left instantly. You know, that's pretty easy. So that's one way you can shut down aggression. And then have one guy playing Ivy or one guy behind 6. This guy can also do have one AWP guy. You have 2 guys in Ivy here. The other guy is Molotoving Olaf. You know, like we call it Olaf out that in area. So he can't stay in this corner here. It's a pretty simple way to do it. And you're always safe to do it, and especially if Orb is holding you. And then if they're rushing out, I think it's always good to smoke Ivy. And then you can help your teammates. If the T's are throwing smoke here, then you can play behind it. And the Orb can hold his angle. If nobody jumps out, he says nobody out left side, nobody elec. And he can focus on holding this if they're pushing, you know. Because his teammate is smoking off Ivy, he knows there's a small chance for them walking through it. And he has some time to play around, and he can always re-smoke. if the smokes are fading outside, you can clear everything outside together, you know? That's a simple way you can get the Orber to counter the guys jumping out to the left. The grenades you can throw from teammate. As a guy, I think the biggest issue the guys had was that they're molotoving here and jumping side. And this molotov doesn't really do a lot of damage. Because they just go through it, right? And if nobody is throwing molotov and H's this way, they get a free pass this way. And the same if they're going out to right, Orb would not hold them, and they will get so much area where the T's or CTs are playing pretty passive on side. So one way to do it is that you throw that molotov you did once. So you kind of, this is a bad molotov, but you can get it to land here. In this way, you kind of block them jumping out. So, the other molotov that's really good to do if you want to play very aggressive is that you can come here, you just go a little to the right here, and you aim up there and you can molo. That molo is gonna burn the whole area here. And I actually failed it now, but I will show you how it's supposed to land. So you come here while running. Second. See, I haven't played CS for a few days. I haven't played official game. It's like this, I think it is. Yeah, this is the one I'm talking about. But this will burn this guy and also lock the left side guy in, you know? He has to, if he wants to move forward, he has to go through the Molotov. Does that make sense? Somebody asked, what if they smoke sandwich? The orb will always catch the first guy jumping out. No matter how fast the sandwich smoke is, if the first bomb of the T's is jumping out, he will have the contact. And if you smoke sandwich, then it's alright, then he can just say, okay, I have this side, you know? Because then you have the other guy who is smoking Ivy pushing close left here, so if they're rushing out, they can take this area. So what you can have in a default setup is that you just call it whatever you want to call it, where you have two guys in connector and have two guys Ivy. So one guy of the connector guy is doing this, Molotoving like I showed, going close here, and then he plays here. So in case they're doing rush pop or whatever, he can help. If they're not rushing out mid, he knows he can go towards pop, you know? The other guy, what he can do is often throwing instant HE like this, because it will not catch the first guy jumping on his T, but the second guy will get a grenade right in his face. So you're making sure you're doing utility damage in this area where there will be, you know. And then you have the orb here, and the guy connector here can throw this, and then he can go on the side here, line up a flash, and flash pop for his teammate, you know. The flash will be right in his face if they're down pop. So one guy doing the Molotov going close here. Okay, nothing happening. Then he goes close here. Then he calls the flash from his teammate. The teammate was throwing like this, going up here. If no sandwich smoke, they're not out. Here you can flash up here. You just come close to the wall and you aim in between these lines. You can play around with yourself, but I think the best one is just safe aiming up here. So it goes inside the window. So you're flashing the pop guy who might have jumped down pop because you didn't rush pop, right? So then your teammate can, while the Molotov is up, while he says nobody jump out, the orb saying nobody out, then he goes close here, calls the flash and gets the flash and then goes in. And suddenly you have pop control and they don't go out mid and maybe they explode after, but then you have pop and you have one guy behind 5 here. And then after that he can rotate to B, you know? Or you do what most often people do is like, okay, nobody here, the orb can then rotate. And now you have full control towards the aggression that you want to shut down. Right? So you're shutting down all this aggression in different ways. That's one way to do it. The other way is that you have one guy rushing through old bomb site. And he's coming here. His main focus is getting that sandwich area, right? This is especially good if people are smoking sandwich a lot. So he comes here. He throws a motor like that. He throws a HG like that. And he goes through. You know? And you jump through the smoke and you have this area. And then you can play behind this. Then after some time, you can smoke mid like that. You smoke it off like that. You can also, after you like shoulder peek here, you can throw probably a smoke like that. There's different ways which you can play around with how you can smoke T mid after. Especially if they didn't come out, you have this area. You say, okay, nobody sandwich. I smoke T mid. And then again, you can support your teammate in pop. Then you come up here, you flash inside pop for him. Oh. You do it from here maybe. Or here like this, something like that. Yeah. And then you flash the guy who came from connector. So this is a scenario where you have one Ivy. One old bomb. Orb and connector, the classic one. Here holding here with orb. The guy doing this Molotov. You can do this Molotov to shut it down. Because you don't need the deep Molotov now. Just make sure it doesn't bounce on this thing. 1 second. That's more to the left. Right? It's alright actually to land in here. If you want to do the best Molotov, you just do this one. Jump throw. You come here, you line up this wall here fast, and you jump through it. This is gonna burn if the orb wants to peek here, you know? He can peek right here, but if he peeks towards pop, he's burnt. Should burn the whole thing. Okay, I have a bug. It doesn't burn. But that's one way you can shut it down. It's really good Molotov to if they're jumping up behind blue and to peek. So, that's one way to shut it down as well. So we had two options. We have this where you rush sandwich. You have orb here. You have the other guy doing either this Molotov or deep Molotov. But most important thing is throwing grenades towards teammate, right? And if the orb is holding, you know you can go close pop. And with this Molotov, you can go close pop here. And like I said, you can either wait for your teammate to flash through your pop, or you just take it because you're feeling it, you know? You can do this classic one. You just rush like this, dodging the whole way. If they're flashing above, you can stay alive here, or you can keep going into pop and rushing and taking it. So again, you're shutting it down in another way. To mix it up, you throw this like a sandwich take, I think I said, and then you go in here. You have a guy like this, and you have a guy like either there or there, depending on what road he wants to take, and an orb and connector, so his fast rotation to B. Another way is always the good one is that if you are 3 guys starting connector, right? The best 2 spawns are double nading. Like this. And orb is holding. So if they jump out, they get a lot of damage. Or you can even ask the orb to Molotov mid, and then you're throwing the grenades. So you isolate the T guys and teammate who's coming out late. So yeah. What else is there? There is a classic rush I'm doing. I'm coming Molotoving fast like this. I'm rushing the whole way. I'm just keep going. Then I get a flashbang. And a flashbang can be from different scenarios. You can just be like the orb is flashing through like this. And with the flash, you can do the Molotov. I have a donation, I'm gonna check after. You're gonna do the Molotov, go close here, call the flash, throw a HE like this, and rush close, and you have suddenly teammate. Especially because the Molotov is burning this right side, you only have to focus on right here and left side. Does that make sense for you guys? What you also can do is you do as a first bomb, you smoke teammate. So you just let them go out there, but you can actually take pop right running, you know? So you have this area at least, because the worst thing, if the T's get out here, the worst thing is if the CTs have pop. If the CT doesn't have pop and the T's on this area, and this area, it's gonna be really hard for the CTs to win around, unless they're playing it really good up each other, because there's gonna be so many gaps, and I think I've seen that from the Mousebots game, how many times I have been out here and making a lot of chaotic things for the CTs if they cannot shut it down. The most important thing is, if you just want to do the classic thing, if you want to be sure how to shut down the area, is that the key things are this Molo and this Molo. But with these 2 Molos, you isolate the T's from not being 5 guys out, but let's say maximum 2 guys. And that scenario, you create 7 seconds where you can fight together as CTs and kind of like render rounds by that, you know? Also, just to add, these flashbangs are always good. These ones that kind of lands behind blue. So if the orb is peeking or whatever, he gets full blind, you know? So that's always good. If you don't have a Molo and you don't have so many nades, you just have, let's say, M4 and smoke, and do the flash, and then you can like smoke teammate after, you know, like this. Just watch how you don't create a one-way here, obviously. But that's also a good way, and then you can go close. In the sandwich area, there's like some good positions. This one, for example, you create kind of a good off angle. I'll try to see how it looks like for the T's. They're coming here, left eye peek, and you never pre-aim up here, you know? So you can stand on the ledge here, and you have like good angles to this guy who's gonna clear, you know? He sees, after he clears this area, it's not often he keeps clearing like that, you know? You know what I mean? So he will clear like this if there's no sandwich smoke. If there's sandwich smoke, he had to focus on this side all the time if there's EDX smoke. So this is also a good off angle where you have like advantage from being higher ground, because the crosshair Placement not good. How do you flash pop? You're just coming here. You can throw it like that. You don't have to line up perfectly. You just go into it and you aim up there. Like I said, I think to be sure, just aim at the top of the window here, and it should be Gucci. Full blind. They have no chance to dodge that one. You can also do it with Molotov, just to add a little on top of that. Molotov you can also do it with, so it burns the whole thing. Yeah. And then you can take it after, right? I think I have answered his question good enough now about the CT question. Also some just good grenades from here. It's like obviously this one H is really close, good damage. And also if you're rushing deep, this H is also really good. Especially if they put that Molotov, you force the guy to go left side, right?